Hello, I am Catherine. As you know, I make videos in English, German and Greek. You find them in my website. I write always down, but also in my channel marked Jesu. As you know, I speak a lot about end time, and today I will take the chapter 11 of Daniel. If you have a Bible, take and read with me. If you don't have in paper, you can read in internet. If you give Daniel 11, you will find the text. It is about what happened some 1,000 years ago and what is happening again, what will come in the future. It's a lot about the Antichrist, the world dictator. Yesterday or before yesterday, the vice-president of the United States, Mr. Vance, was in München, in Germany, and he gave a speech. Most of the people and mass medias, of course, they didn't react good, and they were angry. And if you read the commentaries and so in the newspapers, they don't understand really what he said. But I listen, and it is also in German in the internet, in YouTube, and I was very surprised because he spoke so good and so exactly the situation we have in Europe and in the West, in the whole West. He said what I said in other videos. The biggest danger for Europe is not the war in the Ukraine. The biggest danger in Europe is that we don't have any more security, safety in our countries. Why? Because the UN and the European community pushed us to accept their refugee policy, their gender policy, their climate policy. And these three were only oppressed upon the West, not on other countries. Why? Because the plan is to destroy the West and to bring finally the new world order, the world dictator. So simple it is. So he spoke very good. The problem is that we now in the West, in Europe, but in the whole West, our people, until 10 years ago, we were united. But this refugee policy, climate policy, gender policy of the UN and European community divided our people. And I don't think that it was per accident. Very good plan. So now, if you speak against the migration policy or against some things about these three things that I said, you are racist, you are far right, you are radical, you are extremist, you are dangerous, you are Islamophobe. But we have every day rapes, knife attacks, and especially through Arabic Islamic people. not all are Arabic, but almost all are Muslims, is I think no one person with healthy mind is against to help people in need. I think no one person in the West is against that thing to help other people who are in need. And the West are the people who help everywhere in the world, in Africa, in Asia, in Africa, in South America, Central America. Who helps the poor people? The West, the atheists, and the Christians of the West, not Russia, not China, not the Islamic world. Even most of the Muslims, refugees or whatever, poor people, the West help them. The Arabic and Islamic countries don't take one refugee. And they are their brothers and sisters. The West, the atheistic people, and the Christians of the West. So, but everyday rapes, everyday knife attacks by Muslims. So we don't really, it's so much, they speak so much about migration problem. We don't have in first line a migration problem. We have an Islam problem. But they don't speak about that. It is, they speak about migration, migration, migration. No, we have an Islam problem. In the last decades after the Second World War, the West took Spain people from Spain, from Portugal, from Greece, from Italy, for work. And these people worked, and we didn't have problems with them. But when the Muslims came from Balkan, Albania, Kosovo, Bosnia, etc., some things began, not big things, but some problems. But for in 2015, when this invasion was from Arabic people, then the big problems began. Thousands, children, women, men were raped and killed. An Afghani man some weeks ago attacked a children group, 2 years old, and he killed the 2 years boy, and it was from Morocco, the boy, child of migrants. And he attacked a girl, 2 years old, with a knife. 2 years old, and it was a Syrian girl, because also these children go to our schools and our children groups. And now yesterday, or was before yesterday, in München, in Monaco, or how do you say in English, again an Afghani man who has his flat, his work, his car, his everything, but full of hate of Islam, went with his car through many people and killed and wounded a lot of people. We have an Islam problem because many Muslims, all Muslims I will say, when they are born, they grow up with a lot of hate against the West, against everybody who is not Muslim. And when they come here, some of them overcome the hate. And they are thankful that they can be in peace. But others, they can't overcome the hate. They can't accept that there are atheistic people or Christians or other people who have a good life in peace because they thought everybody who is not a Muslim has a bad life. No, the opposite is perhaps the case. And so they become crazy. But this man, this Afghan man of yesterday, he was not crazy. He was Islamized as many others. We have an Islam problem, not first a migration problem. And what are the governments doing? Islamophobia, racist, far right. No, we have a healthy mind. We see what is coming. We see the danger and warn. So Mr. Vance was very right what he said. But still we see now the mother, Europe, and America, the daughter. They are now separated. Trump, Mr. Trump, begins a new age. A new age, yeah. So, a lot of things are coming. How many of you who read the Bible thought Daniel 11 is so difficult to understand? But I will go quickly through and explain because it has a lot to do with the Antichrist, with the beast. I read, and I hope you have the Bible before you. So the angel explained what will come to Daniel. And now I will show you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings shall arise in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than all of them. And when he has become strong through his riches, he shall stir up all against the kingdom of Greece. It was Xerxes. I don't know if his other name was Ahasuerus. I am not sure. Then a mighty king shall arise who shall rule with great dominion and do as he wills. And as soon as he has arisen, his kingdom shall be broken and divided towards the 4 winds of heaven, but not to his posterity, nor according to the authority with which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be plucked up and go to others besides this. We know Xerxes, the king of Iran, of Persia, attacked the kingdom of Greece, and Alexander the Great defeated him and took over all these kingdoms until India. But when he died, he had no children, and 4 generals became the kingdom. Cassander, Greece. Lysimachus, one part, the northern part of Turkey. Of course, in this time, there was no Turkey. Seleucus, Turkey, and all the rest, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, until India, and Egypt, Ptolemies. But then the kings of the south shall be strong, it is Egypt, but one of his princes shall be stronger than he and shall rule, and his authority shall be a great authority. So one of these princes means Seleucus from Syria or Assyria. After some years they shall make an alliance, and the daughter of the king of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement. He, the king of Ptolemies of Egypt, gave his daughter as wife to the king of Syria, Berenike, but she shall not retain the strength of her arm, and he and his arm shall not endure, but she shall be given up, and her attendants, he who fathered her, and he who supported her in those times. She was poisoned with all the people who came with her to Syria. And from a branch from her roots one shall arise in his place. He shall come against the army and enter the fortress of the king of the north, and he shall deal with them and shall prevail. We have in Egypt, all the kings have the name Ptolemy. We have in the kingdom of the north, Syria, part of Turkey, until India. We have Antiochus, Seleucus, and then Antiochus, and then Seleucus, and then Antiochus. And most of the times Antiochus, they change up. He shall come against the army and the fortress of the king of the north, and he shall deal with them and shall prevail. He shall also carry off to Egypt their gods with their metal images and their precious vessels of silver and gold, and for some years he shall refrain from attacking the king of the north. So the king of the south, Ptolemy, comes against the king of the north. He takes all the riches of Syria and brings them home. Then the latter shall come into the realm of the king of the south, but shall return to his own land. His sons shall wage war and assemble a multitude of great forces, which shall keep coming and overflow and pass through, and again shall carry the war as far as his fortress. So again the king of the north comes against the king of the south. Then the king of the south, moved with rage, shall come out and fight against the king of the north. And he shall raise a great multitude, but it shall be given into his hand. And when the multitude is taken away, his heart shall be exalted, and he shall cast down tens of thousands, but he shall not prevail. He kills people, but not in Egypt, in Israel. For the king of the north shall again raise a multitude greater than the first, and after some years he shall come on with a great army and abundant supplies. In those times many shall rise against the king of the south, and the violent among your own people shall lift themselves up in order to fulfill the vision, but they shall fail. Then the king of the north, Antiochus or Seleucus, Antiochus will come. The king of the north shall come and throw up siege works and take a well-fortified city. I think it is called the Battle of Panium. Panium, yeah. And the forces of the south shall not stand, or even his best troops, for there shall be no strength to stand. But he who comes against him shall do as he wills, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land with the destruction in his hand. What is the glorious land? Israel. Israel is between Asia and Africa. Israel was occupied by all the kingdoms, the Egyptian Empire, Assyria, Persia, Babylon, Persia, Greek Empire, Roman Empire, Ottoman Empire. It was occupied by all empires. And every time they lose, what they do, they leave their rage against the Jewish people. And we see until today the same thing. So he shall set his face to come with the strength of his whole kingdom, and he shall bring terms of an agreement and perform them. He shall give him the daughter of woman to destroy the kingdom, but it shall not stand to or be to his advantage. Also the king of Ptolemy of Egypt give his daughter Cleopatra to the Antiochus III, so that he can take over. But Cleopatra, how can I say, she makes one thing with her husband, so her father lose. Afterwards he shall turn his face to the coastlands, and shall capture many of them, but the commander shall put an end to his insolence. Antiochus Epiphanes, not Antiochus Epiphanes, Antiochus the second or the third, is going now against the islands of Greece. He attacked Cyprus or something. But the Romans, for the first time, the Romans comes and defeat him. But the commander shall put an end to his insolence. Indeed, he shall turn his insolence back upon him. Then he shall turn his face back towards the fortresses of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and shall not be found. So we see Antiochus the second or the third is killed, and we don't find him again. Then shall arise in his place one who shall send an exactor of tribute for the glory of the kingdom, but within a few days he shall be broken, neither in anger nor in battle. So Antiochus the third take over. But because the Antiochus, the kings of Syria, were defeated by the Romans when they attacked Greece, they have to pay tribute. And not only tribute, they had to send one of the sons to Rome. So the son studied in Rome and saw the mentality, the life in Rome, and grew up with the Romans. And so the Romans hoped he will change a little his mind. So the Antiochus III want to collect the tribute. How do you say the tribute? Oh, the money, yeah, the tribute. And he sent an exactor of tribute for the glory of the kingdom. But this tribute kills him and is not in anger nor in battle. In his place shall arise a contemptible person to whom royal majesty has not been given. I made videos about Daniel some years ago, but yesterday, it was funny, I found a brother in YouTube. He made a short video, some minutes, and he explained with names, so you have the whole thing. I will put perhaps in the information, so you have the whole thing if you are somebody who really study the Bible and not only wants more than only to read. So you have the names and you have the time and you have everything. Now give attention, because now the prototype of the Antichrist is coming, Antiochus the fourth, Antiochus Epiphanes. Antiochus Epiphanes is the prototype of the Antichrist, of the world dictator. He made all these things that the world dictator will do one day. He shall come in. So he is somebody to whom royal majesty has not been given. He shall come in without warning and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Antiochus Epiphanes was the son of Antiochus, who had to go to Rome because they were defeated by Rome. They had to pay tribute, but also to send a son to Rome. Antiochus Epiphanes was this son. He hears that his brother was killed. So Antiochus III, so he is coming back to the country and he takes over. He grew up in Rome, but also in Athens, in Greece. So he had another education. The Roman Empire defeated the Greek Empire, but the Romans took over the culture of Greece and pushed every country, also Israel, to accept the culture and the gods of Greece. He shall come in without warning and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. Armies shall be utterly swept away before him and broken, even the prince of the covenant. The prince of the covenant was the high priest of the temple. And from the time that an alliance is made alliance with him, he shall act deceitfully, and he shall become strong with a small people. Without warning he shall come into the richest parts of the province, and he shall do what neither his fathers nor his fathers' fathers have done, scattering among them plunder, spoil, and goods. He came to the Holy Land and destroyed and killed, and now begins the time of Maccabees. You must read the first book of Maccabees. It is in the Apocryphs. So he shall devise plans against strongholds, but only for a time. And he shall stir up his power and his heart against the king of the south with a great army. And the king of the south, Egypt, shall wage war with an exceedingly great and mighty army. But he shall not stand, for plots shall be devised against him. Even those who eat his food shall break him. His army shall be swept away, and many shall fall down slain. So it means Egypt will be defeated. And as for the two kings, the king of the south, the king of the north, come together to speak, their hearts shall be bent on doing evil. They shall speak lies at the same table, but to no avail, for the end is yet to be at the time appointed. And he shall return to his land with great wealth, but his heart shall be set against the holy covenant, against Israel. So the king of the north is coming back to his country, but he must go through Israel. And he shall work his will and return to his own land. At the time appointed he shall return and come into the south, but it shall not be this time as it was before. So he comes against Egypt again, he has enough. But the Romans are coming again, and push him to go back. For ships of Kittim, of Cyprus, Romans ship of Cyprus, shall come against him, and he shall be afraid and withdraw, and shall turn back and be enraged and take action against the Holy Covenant. So he is full rage because he lost. He is coming through Israel. He is full rage, full hate, and he attacks Israel. Forces from him shall appear and profane the temple and fortress, and shall take away the regular burnt offering. And they shall set up the abomination that makes desolate. This is the second time that the word, the abomination that makes desolate, is in the Bible. As I remember, the first time is in Daniel 9, where we see the 1 week of the Antichrist, the 7 last years. And now we see again the word, the abomination that makes desolate. And the third time is in Matthew 24. In the last 3.5 years, we know the Antichrist, the world dictator, will attack Israel, sit in the temple of God, proclaim himself God. And what did Antiochus Epiphanes? Epiphanes is a title that has to do with God, with the glory of God. It means Antiochus Epiphanes was so prideful. He made himself, he saw himself as God. He comes, he doesn't destroy the temple. The Romans destroyed the temple 70 years after Jesus. He profanes the temple. He gives a pig. He sacrifices a pig on the altar of the temple. And he stops the offerings. And he brings a statue of Zeus. How do you say Zeus? Zeus, the god of the Greeks, Satan, the god of gods, the father of Apollo, he brings in the temple. And everybody, he shall seduce with flattery those who violate the covenant, but the people who know their God shall stand firm and take action. And we see the Maccabees fight against Antiochus Epiphanes, fight against the enemy of Israel and the enemy of God. So why is it good to know some things? Because Antiochus Epiphanes made what the Antichrist will do in the last 3.5 years, in the middle of the 7 last years. So you see all the powers in the Middle East, plus the Greek Empire, plus the Roman Empire, plus the Ottoman Empire, always attacked Israel, possessed Israel. The Turks were there until 1917. Why they didn't create a Palestinian state? Because there were no Palestinians. The Jews were the Palestinians. Who are the others? Arabs, Arabic migrants in Israel. from Egypt and Saudi Arabia, Syria, etc. And the UN and the British mandate created a state for the Arabs in Israel, Jordan, in 1946, 2 years before the refoundation of the State of Israel. So you see, the world decided to believe a lie because they are blind through their foolishness. They are blind because they hate the living God of Israel. So it's not important, how can I say, you are Catholic, Orthodox, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever. When this man comes to reign and he declares himself to God, if he is from Europe or Islamic, it's not important. He will declare himself to God, and then you have to go down to worship him. In other way, you are executed or in concentration camps. Ask God, ask Jesus Christ to come in your life to forgive you, because you see what is happening now, also between Europe and America. Goodbye, God bless you.